And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to today's video where we are going to be ranking all of the Galactic Legends from best to worst in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes for 2024. I want to thank you guys as always for being a part of the series and really getting engaged with it. Last time I made this video, my gosh, you guys left a ton of love on it, and I hope you continue to love what we're going to do today. We're going to try to get as close as we can to an analytical, driven approach to determining who is the very best, keeping my own opinion and experience out of it to a minimum as much as possible. Now, there are a variety of aspects when we look at Galactic Legends, and if you want to kind of jump to the variety of time points in the video, boom, right down there. First thing we're going to talk about is kind of the first barrier of entry to even getting to experience these Galactic Legends, the farming aspect of it all. So here are the first determining factors in our analysis in the Galactic Legend rankings. We're going to be looking at Kyrotech, Relics, the quality requirements, as well as the ideal team being built straight out of the requirements, out the box being done. Now, we are making a slight change to previous years where when we look at the gear aspect, we used to look at Carbantes, stun guns, stun cuffs. However, with the big change that happened last year with our gear economy and the raid, I feel like we should maybe omit those other gear pieces and solely focus on Kyrotech. So let's go ahead and show you what the spread of the Kyrotech investment is needed for all these Galactic Legends. At the lowest end of the spectrum, we see Supreme Leader Kylo Ren needing 1,400 Kyrotechs. And in that middle point, we see Master Kenobi and Jedi Master Luke holding 2,300 to 2,800 at the big end. We have a big guy here that loves his Kyrotech. Jabba the Hutt beating Lord Vader as the new Kyrotech hungry Galactic Legend, needing 3,700 pieces. So very simple to kind of rank this, and the way we're going to score is just like previous years. The closer you can get to one, the better you are. And we're going to be doing averages for each category and then a total average for value Galactic Legend at the very end, which is a combination of farming as well as power. Now next up is Relics. After you get your Kyrotechs up and running, let me tell you, you ain't done yet. You still got a farm scrap upgrade. Gary, play a quick snippet of the song.
Farming just a scrap to get another upgrade.
So what we're looking at here for the Relics is we're looking at both the combination of signal data as well as the scrapping material needed. I'm going to show you each of them individually, but for the score, we're going to just total them together. When we look at signal data, very clear again, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is the cheapest, needing 1,995 signal data, going all the way up to Lord Vader, which is 3,730. But what we're really looking for is the total amount of relic investment you're going to need between signal data, relic pieces. So as we can see, yet again, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is the cheapest Galactic Legend to get at 7,185 relic pieces, going all the way up to Jabba the Hutt, needing 12,725. So again, let's go ahead and put it on the board. Here's what the scoring is going to look like for all those Galactic Legends. Kind of a similar story between the gear and relics. But here's the deal. At the end of the day, and we're going to kind of talk about this at our more pragmatic view of ranking these Galactic Legends, what we really care about at the end of the day is, yes, how difficult it is to get these Galactic Legends, but at the same time, you want to get good stuff as you're on your journey to farming these guys up. So I'm going to put all the scores for the quality requirements, and we're going to kind of talk about them a little bit more individually. Starting from left to right, we're giving Kylo a fourth place in this scenario, where his stuff, the good thing is there's really no dead weight in the Supreme Leader Kylo Ren grind. Thanks to some Omicrons that have happened for the First Order, you have a First Order team that's very dominant. You have a solid Omicron for Grand Arena. You get some ship stuff out of the Supreme Leader Kylo Ren requirements. Granted, they're not like the best of the best, but they're not bad. So that's why we're giving him a 4. Rey is kind of in a similar situation as Kylo, but a little bit different at the same time. The problem with her is that you get some good stuff out of her, but the problem is you're not getting nearly as good of a fleet. You're not getting nearly as good of a characters unless you go out of your way, for example, and get Zori to amplify the team. Jedi Master Luke is going to take the cake here. Number 1, he has so many solid nesting dolls, from going to Commander Luke to Jedi Knight Luke, getting some Rebel fleet stuff. A lot of great Jedi as well. Sith Eternal's going to be taking dead last here. The problem is you're getting mixed pieces of stuff that is good. Like, don't get me wrong, the Imperial Trooper stuff is good. You get a couple of the core things. You get yourself Vader and Palpatine, which is a thing. There's really nothing fully complete. You really are going to have to build into those Galactic Legend records for Sith Eternal. Master Kenobi has good stuff, individual characters. You know, get General Kenobi, Yoda, you know, Shakti, all these other things. The problem is you're not really getting a team necessarily built out just by going for Jedi Master Kenobi. As we're going to see some data, you're going to definitely want to supplement the Kenobi Kenobi farm with a bunch of other stuff to really get the full power of Kenobi and the requirements. Lord Vader's going to be third place here. Lord Vader has General Anakin Skywalker, and the conversation there, really. General Skywalker's got a lot of solid ships required for him. He's got a lot of good characters like Padme, a lot of droids and all that fun stuff, but also the Lord Vader stuff for himself. You're building up the Bad Batch, which is really good. But nonetheless, between the Bad Batch and the General Skywalker and General Skywalker's requirements, not much to complain about. Jabba's coming in at number 2. Jabba's a very similar situation like Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, where there's a lot of nesting dolls. The build up to Jabba. You're building up some stuff for the Executor farm. You're building up Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, which has a variety of stuff that's needed. Commander Luke. You're building up Rebel teams. There is some dead weight, though, that I don't make it feel like he's at the same par as Master Luke. You got things like the Jawa, Mavin Force, the Gamorrean Guard, things that you're just not going to use. So there is some dead space that's visible, which is why we're giving him a number 2. Now, Leia's requirements are also kind of weird. When you're building up the Leia, you're going to get the core of the Leia teams we're going to talk about. The problem with Leia is you're kind of building up good characters, but they're not going to be used together. Scout Trooper is good, Drogon's good, but they're more supplemental characters for other farms that aren't a part of Leia. So that's how we're scoring for this category. But ideally, you would like to have the requirements that you're farming, you're done. Everything's there, you're good to go, you don't need to do anything externally. So we're going to show what the requirements build out in terms of the teams you can build for these Galactic Legends. But as we're going to talk about in the next stage, where we're going to talk about power, we're going to show what just requirement power looks like and the ideal optimized team power is going to look like. So Perimeter Kyle Ren, what you farm is what you're using. Rey's team has evolved over the years. Now, she does have a lot of flexibility to be used with a variety of light side things, which is great. And as we're going to talk about in the optimization segment, it's a big thing working for her. But, just right out the box, you do get a team. You get, the Finn bros. It's just not nearly as powerful until you get Ben, Cal Kestis, and some other things like that. As we said, Master Luke has a lot of great stuff. And the team that you could build, you technically can have a Master Luke team when you're done with him. But you want to get things like Yoda. You want to get things like Jedi Knight Revan, maybe Jolie, Cal Kestis, Caddy Mundi, to really get the full picture. But for the most part, when you get Master Luke, you're almost done. Yeah, there are Sith you can use as Sith Eternal, but by no means is that his ideal team. Ideally, you want Wat and Armor, or you want Bane. And we're going to be talking about all those differences that makes for Sith Eternal, but out the box, he doesn't really have the team he needs to have. Kenobi's going to have a 6 here. Now, don't get me wrong, you could definitely use what you have with General Kenobi, Shakti, Mace Windu, Yoda. It's not the best team for Kenobi by far, as the numbers are going to show. There is no debating. Lord Vader is dead last. Literally, the only thing you could maybe use is Grand Moff Tarkin. You need to still get Royal Guard. Maybe Darth Vader, Piet, Thrawn, Maul, of course. And I want to make it very clear, this next stage, when we look at numbers, I couldn't really find anyone who just used Lord Vader and Grand Moff Tarkin. So hopefully when you get Lord Vader, you have many, many, many other characters you can use with him. Jabba, we are giving number 1, but I'd say there's a debate whether Boba Fett or Embo is the ideal go-to. But the good news is that Jabba, when you farm the Jabba requirements, you're basically done. Boba Fett is a perfectly fine use in the team. Some people would argue Embo's a little bit better, especially in Territory Wars. And then Leia, we're going to give it 3. Now, you get the core. Honestly, that's all you need. Everything else is completely extra. There really isn't an ideal team for Leia. It's whatever you have, but I'm still going to knock down a few points because it would be nice if maybe you got Baze, Mon Mothma, maybe Scarecrow Pathfinder is something. There's not an ideal team, but there are prominent go-tos that you just have to get externally. So we got a couple ties when we do all the scoring, but obviously Supreme Leader Kyle Ren is by far the most valuable Galactic Legend to get in terms of farming. Master Luke and Rey will be tied for number 2. Jabba will be coming into 3rd place, Leia 4th, and then we have Sith Eternal and Master Kenobi tied for 5th place, and Lord Vader coming in last in terms of farming value. So now, my friends, we're going to be talking about the power of these Galactic Legends. Really the main focus of what we should be basing our opinions off of here. And again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get as close to analytical as we can possibly get, keeping out my opinion as much as possible, although I will interject a little bit on Sith Eternal here. And the way I compiled to try to get as analytical as possible is I used data from SWH.GG, filtered only by Kyber, took out Datacrons, and basically what we're trying to see is how good are these characters with the requirements only and when you optimize both on offense and defense. On how good these Galactic Legends are straight out the box without optimization, I'm not going to be giving that any sort of value to the overall score these Galactic Legends will get, because it's a little bit unfair to give a score to some of these Galactic Legends when they're not at full power that you need to get them at. But but I still want to make sure it's out there in case you're getting a Galactic Legend. You know how good or bad a Galactic Legend is before you fill them out with the rest of the stuff. And before we look at all this data, I want to show you now the ideal teams for optimization that you want all these Galactic Legends to be in. We're going to be showing both normal requisite power and optimized power. So I just want to give you an example of what an optimized team might look like. Some teams improve better when you can add to their requirements or kind of go out and about and pull things. Like Supreme Leader Kyle Ren, Sith Eternal, Armor, and Wat Tambor are pretty darn good. Lord Vader, obviously you want Maul. Galactic Legend Rey, you're going to want to have things like Ben Solo. Master Kenobi, obviously Commander Tano. So hopefully this helps you get a better idea of what the requisite teams look like that we showed a few moments ago and these ideal teams you really should be striving for. So let's get nerdy and talk about some of this data here, starting off with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. So here we see how we're going to format this, where we're going to see a Galactic Legend on offense versus a Galactic Legend listed on the X-axis on the bottom, and we're going to show the win rate. How successful is, in this case, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren versus all these Galactic Legends he might come across on defense. And you'll see two values for each of the Galactic Legends. The left side or the blue side is just with the requirements only that we talked about a few moments ago. And the green is when you optimize with other great characters that would make Kylo Ren better in a couple scenarios. And as we can see here, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, before you optimize for him straight out the box, he has about a 46% success rate. His biggest challenges are probably going to be Master Kenobi, Lord Vader's, Leia's, and Jedi Master Luke's, but does well against Jabba, Reign, Sith Eternal. And when you optimize, you definitely see the win rates improve for specifically Jedi Master Kenobi, Lord Vader, and Leia. In other battles, it made a minor difference at best. So Rey kind of goes through a little bit of a roller coaster before and after. So with just her Rex, she's at about a 26% win rate, where her best thing is maybe Sith Eternal, but everything else is kind of iffy. But we'll check it out. Once you get that Ben, look how much big of a difference it makes. It almost makes a 30% improvement in its average win rate, where now things like Master Luke are easier, Jedi Master Kenobi get tremendously easier, and maybe even Lord Vader as well as Jabba. Now, Sith Eternal is where I'm going to interject some of my personal opinion. But first, let's show you what's he like straight out the box, just from the requirements. It's not great. So Sith Eternal, not really much to talk about. Pre-optimization at best, about a 15% win rate, where Master Luke is the easiest battle for him, but anything else without some help, let's just say a struggle. But optimized, definitely a facelift where we see massive improvements for Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, Rey battles, and also Master Kenobi battles see the biggest impact and changes, and at least a shot at beating some Leia stuff. Now, for the rankings, I'm considering this score, but I'd be remiss if I didn't show you what he's like with Bane. Bane is technically his lifter, so here's what the numbers show. When you throw in Bane, it is a much different story. Sith Eternal's a powerhouse all of a sudden. So y'all, check this out. With Bane, Sith Eternal turns into an absolute monster, going from a 15% win rate vanilla to a 54% win rate when you optimize with Wat Armor, and then to an 80% win rate with Bane. A huge improvement, but it's a big but. The fact of the matter is, in reality, it doesn't make sense to use Bane with Sith Eternal, because look at this comparison. This shows the numbers of Sith Eternal and Bane versus Bane without Sith Eternal. Yes, it is slightly better with Sith Eternal and Bane, marginally a couple points, but Bane can basically do everything he could do with Sith Eternal without Sith Eternal, except in the one key battle of Jabba. That is the most obvious battle, and Master Kenobi, where having Sith Eternal with Bane makes a little bit more of a difference. It's funny to say, but Bane is the Galactic Legend in this duo. But hey, if you think I'm wrong and I should use the Bane score with Sith Eternal, let me know. I don't think I'm being unfair. I think I'm just being pragmatic. That's just how the game is. People aren't really using them together. It's a little foolish. It's a little bit of a waste of resource to put them together when Bane doesn't need Sith Eternal. Taking a look at Jedi Master Luke, nothing as crazy as some of the other stuff, but still, what we see before you optimize for things like Jedi Knight Reva and Cal Kestis, you're at about a 43% win rate, where the biggest struggles are mostly Sith Eternal, Master Kenobi, Jabba, Leia. But hey, throw on some of those bigger Jedi, and you see the win rate start jumping up about 20%, where Lord Vader and Master Kenobi is a lot easier than before, and you might have a chance of taking down a Jabba, maybe a Leia. So hopefully you guys can forgive me, but we have to cheat a little bit of Lord Vader, because as we said, his requirements don't build any team for him. So what I'm going to do basically is show Lord Vader with and without Maul, and hopefully we can agree it's okay to do a comparison like this. A little bit unfair to the others, but we got to make an exception for this guy, or else it'll be not very impressive. But anyways, Lord Vader, before you add Maul, you're looking at about a 54% win rate. But with Maul, you're seeing a 72% win rate. So a little bit of a jump where mostly the Maul helps out versus the Jabba and makes the Master Kenobi battles a little bit better. But unfortunately, Master Kenobi, he's got the high ground and upper hand over Lord Vader. Now, Master Kenobi. This is a zero to hero transformation. Without Commander Tano and you're just rocking the normal requirements, you're looking at about a 34% win rate. But check it out, throwing that Commander Tano, and it's a much different story. Going from a 34 to 84%, 50% change, where this guy is an offensive powerhouse. And really, he will just start feeling that struggle against Jabba and Leia, but very solid up against pretty much every single Galactic Legend. Now, the nice thing about Jabba, there is no optimization. What you farm is the best team possible, and you gotta admit, across the board without needing any lifter or some weird optimization, 66% win rate is pretty solid, where the biggest struggle is really gonna be those Lord Vaders, but otherwise pretty consistent across the board. And we're definitely saving the best for last in this category. The critically acclaimed offensive Galactic Legend that CG dubbed for Leia. Yeah, this is just nutty, man. Across the board, no lifter. Really just between her, Drogon, R2, whatever you got, you're looking at an 88% average win rate, where most of the battles are at 90+% success rate, with the only one maybe causing her some struggle, Jabba the Hutt. Holy cow. But she's not going to be good on defense too, right? Right? So now to help tally up our score, let's compare the average win rates of all these Galactic Legends we just analyzed on offense, fighting their Galactic Legend counterparts, and incredibly clear, Leia is number 1, but following that we have Master Kenobi taking the number 2 spot as offensive Galactic Legend, Lord Vader number 3, Jabba the Hutt 4, Supreme Kylo Ren barely eking out number 5, Jedi Master Luke taking a 6th place, and then Sith Eternal taking 7th, and Rey's gonna be taking dead last. But before we do all that, let's just go show you the scores on the board. And again, just a reminder, we're not gonna be looking at the suboptimal requirement only power for the actual scoring, but I still just wanted to make sure you guys saw how good these Galactic Legends are out the box before needing to optimize. So hopefully that was a helpful analysis for you guys out there. I can't tell if we did spreadsheet overload here. However, again, I want to make it clear that if we did take the Bane consideration, this would jump up, or Sith Eternal would be the number 2 Galactic Legend. However, I feel like we'd be overinflating the truth of where the game is if I gave him the Bane score. But again, let me know down below. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Next category we're looking at is defense. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to look at how they are on defense versus their Galactic Legends before and after optimization. So again, let's start off with Supreme Kylo Ren. All right, people, I need you to adjust your eyeballs real quick, because we're looking at this data a little bit differently than the offensive side. Since we're trying to determine who's better on defense, we're going to be looking at average hold rates. And the bigger the number means the more likely this Galactic Legend will be able to hold versus other Galactic Legends attacking it. So in the situation of Supreme Kylo Ren, he's got an average hold rate of 30%. And really, when we look at the data, the only real Galactic Legends that might struggle versus him are Rey, Sith Eternal, and Jabba the Hutt. Whereas all the other Galactic Legends, Master Luke, Kenobi, Lord Vader, Leia, they have very high success rates fighting Kylo. So hope that makes sense how we're looking at this set of data now. So Rey's looking for a comeback. She did not do too hot on the offensive side of things, but defense is a bit more of her forte. When we look at the win rates of Galactic Legends fighting her, we see that she holds about 56% of the time when she's optimized. Without optimization, only about 17%. But when you do optimize, throwing things like Ben, Cal, we see that, most Galactic Legends, they're kind of like in that 50% or below, where they might lose against her. And Leia's really the only true fire guaranteed Galactic Legend counter to Rey for the most part. Still, stuff can happen. Sith Eternal Emperor does not have much to boast about on defense. Even when you optimize him and try to throw in things like Savage versus Galactic Legends, he's not really stopping much. Master Luke is basically the best he can do. Maybe he could stop a Jabba. Otherwise, most Galactic Legends are going to walk right through a Sith Eternal. Master Luke, not really much to brag about on defense either, where before you optimize, you're looking at about a 19% hold rate. Optimize, 30% hold rate. The most noticeable things is I guess it's really only one thing. He could stop Supreme Leader Kylo Ren and maybe give Rey a bit of a hard time. Now, Lord Vader, as I said before, we need to cheat a little bit because his requirements don't build anything, so we're going to do a no Maul comparison. On defense, there's really not that big of a difference between Maul and no Maul, oddly enough. 47% hold rate without Maul, 54% hold rate with Maul. Master Kenobi, Leia, Master Luke are the biggest counters to him. Keep in mind, this is against all Supreme Leader Kylo Ren data, so we didn't optimize SLKR in this situation. All SLKRs will struggle a little bit more without optimized. But of course, if you want to see how good Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is, you already saw that a couple minutes ago. Master Kenobi really got me off guard here. First off, I want to make it very clear there's not much data on Master Kenobi on defense with just his requirements and not optimized. But even so, the stuff I did see, Master Kenobi is not great on defense out of the box. You can barely see it. A 3% average hold rate is what he has. Pretty much stopping nothing. But the second you get Commander Tano, you get all the cool stuff, Ahsoka Padme, all that fun stuff, he jumps up to a 61% hold rate, where now a lot of Galactic Legends will struggle up against him, with the exception of Jabba and Leia. Zero to hero transformation. I don't know if you guys have played Mario Kart, but Mario has always been the all-around good character. That's kind of what Jabba is. Jabba did all right all around on offense. On defense, we see out of the box, again, no lifters, none of that stuff. 60% average hold rate, basically making it very difficult for Rey, Sith Eternal, and Jedi Master Luke to get through him. So we were told that Leia is only supposed to be an offensive Galactic Legends. That's what the developers told us, not so much defense. Well, I got a story to tell you guys here. Leia is seriously next level bonkers. And remember, she has no lifters. She doesn't really have like a super ideal team, just Drogon R2. She has an average hold rate of 74% versus her Galactic Legend counterparts, with Master Kenobi and Jabba maybe being your best bet getting through Leia. Pretty darn insane to the membrane. So now let's take all the hold rates that we saw and rank them from best to worst. We see again clearly Leia is above the pack, 74% hold rate. Master Kenobi coming in number 2 at 61% of a hold rate. Jabba just barely getting beaten by Master Kenobi, so he's gonna hold number 3 at 60%. Rey's coming in number 4, 56% hold rate. Lord Vader 54%. Supreme Leader Kylo Ren 30%, tied with Master Luke, and then dead last, Sith Eternal Emperor. Now, I said I'm not really interjecting opinion, but I pretty much agree with where the data is. It's basically where my gut instinct has been with all these Galactic Legends. But here's where the real debate happens with Galactic Legends, the non-GL counters. Because here's the thing, when you get a Galactic Legend, you know what, it's fine if someone uses a Galactic Legend to beat your Galactic Legend. But if someone's not using a Galactic Legend to beat your Galactic Legend, that's when the real issues start to shore up at that point. However, here, this is where we kind of got to base it off experience rather than numbers, because the numbers from the data don't tell the true full story on what's going on. For example, the data is not going to show common two-shot counters. For example, Master Kenobi, people oftentimes will use bounty hunters, take out the Commander Tano, bring in General Anakin Skywalker, and that is considered a solid win right there. Jabba the Hutt, we use Night Sisters quite a lot to destroy everyone and take down Jabba, but the numbers and the win rates are going to be drastically low because Night Sisters aren't a consistent one-shot. But still, if you can two-shot a Jabba without a Galactic Legend, that is still a strategic way to win. Basically, what I'm looking at here is looking at the feasible one-shot non-Galactic Legend counters or two-shot non-Galactic Legend counters, and then the more non-GL counters you have, the lower of rank you're going to be in this category. So starting off with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, for example, you have things like Bo-Katan, Jedi Knight Revan, Malicos, Bane, Reva, so quite a few. When it comes to things like Galactic Legend Rey, there really aren't a lot of non-Galactic Legend counters. He has maybe 4 at best. Starkiller, Malicos, Bane. I'm going to consider General Anakin Skywalker, but I'm going to admit, General Anakin Skywalker is not a very consistent counter. Master Luke Skywalker has a ton. Reva, Malgus, Revan, Traya, Starkiller, Grievous, Maul, Bane, Malicos, Bo, just to name a few. Sith Eternal, oddly enough, does not have a lot of non-GL counters. If you throw in things like Savage, Malik, something of that sort, you almost need a Galactic Legend, but there are still a few non-GL ways of handling him, such as Afra, maybe a Starkiller, Killer, maybe Maul, maybe a Grievous 2-shot, or Reva. Now, Master Kenobi, there really aren't a lot of options to take him down. Reva's one of them. Maybe you can get Maul to work sometimes. The Bounty Hunter Gas 2-shot is an option. Bo-Katan is the latest hotness on the block. And then Lord Vader, probably where, when we talk about Lord Vader, this is where most of the discussion's revolving around. For an expensive Galactic Legend, he has a lot of ways to either one-shot him or very efficient 2-shot opportunities. Fennec Shand, obviously one of them. Malicos, Traya can do a 2-shot. Bo is the latest hotness, literally insta-killing Lord Vader teams. Bane, Reva, maybe even Imperial Trooper. So a lot of ways to get through Lord Vader without needing a Galactic Legend. And Jabba the Hutt has his Night Sister 2-shot. Maybe Afra's kind of a hit or miss, but it could work. Maybe a Star Killer. Traya can do a 2-shot like she can on Lord Vader. Malicos is also decent, and then there's also Reva. And Leia, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I am stretching to say there's non-GL counters here. The best one is Bane. That's the best non-GL counter. Maybe Maul could work, but if someone has Obi-Wan Kenobi, Old Ben, maybe Kanan, Maul does not really work. And then you have the Super Reva, which is Reva hybrided with Savage and Starkiller. Crazy expensive counter. There's not a lot of non-GL ways of beating Leia at the moment. So we take all that in consideration. Here's what we're looking at, where Leia, again, number 1 in this category. Master Kenobi coming in at number 2, tied with Rey for number 2. Then we have Sith Eternal, Jabba, tied with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, then Lord Vader, and then Master Luke coming in at dead last. So I know there was a lot of talking, but realistically, what we care about is that average score here. So again, we're not going to consider the non-optimized power into this total score. I think it'd be a bit unfair to a lot of these guys. So we look at the average scores in this category. Wow, I wonder who came up number 1. Leia, clearly number 1. Jedi Master Kenobi coming in at number 2 overall. Jabba, number 3 overall. Lord Vader coming in at number 4. Then Rey, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, Jedi Master Luke, and then Sith Eternal coming in last in this category. There's one more category that we should go over. This is mostly PvE stuff. We're not going to be associating any points to the overall ranking of these Galactic Legends, because the main goal of Galaxy Heroes is pick the most powerful characters in the PvP Grand Arena side. It'll trickle down everywhere else fairly well. Now, of course, some Galactic Legends will solo better than others. Some Galactic Legends have exclusive events like Jabba and Leia. They have special mod and relic events. Most Galactic Legends have an assault battle. I use all the Galactic Legends in territory battles. Yeah, I like some more than others, but I'm using all of them regardless. I am not incorporating things like territory battles because, well, it's way too seasonal. And we're also not including Conquest because Conquest, kind of like the raids, is always changing. Some Galactic Legends are better than others. Some are required. So not a good way of basing Galactic Legend rankings. Here's going to be the list, but I say, stick around a little bit longer because I think the practical opinion is a little bit different than this, but I still think it's important to let you guys see how this averaged out. So if we're going to go solely based off best bang per buck, Leia by far number 1. Supreme Leader Kylo Ren would technically be number 2. He's super accessible to get, and he does all right from a power perspective. Jedi Master Kenobi would be number 3. Rey would be number 4. Mainly a lot of her defensive vibe building holding her up, as well as her accessibility isn't all that bad. Jabba would be number 5. Master Luke number 6. Lord Vader number 7, and Sith Eternal coming in dead last. Again, I feel bad for Sith Eternal. His score would be a lot higher if he would throw in Bane. However, in my honest opinion, although this is a metric to look at, the best overall value Galactic Legends, this would be a proper way of analyzing if you wanted to take this score. In my opinion, though, now for my personal ranking, it's a little bit of a combination of power and a little bit of the value aspect as well. For me, Leia is by far the clear choice winner with Jedi Master Kenobi number 2, Jabba number 3. I'm going to move Kylo up to number 4, Rey 5, Lord Vader 6, Master Luke 7, and for me, I think Sith Eternal is the least. So this is how I would rank the Galactic Legends. What are your thoughts on the way I came to my conclusions? And more importantly, what are your rankings? Maybe you don't care about numbers. Maybe you just want to go solely based off your own gut instinct. I want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy it. You enjoyed the mathematical comparisons we did. And if you did, you know what? Maybe, go ahead and gently press that like button. Leave your thoughts down below and be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing, because let me tell you, it's great to be in the Empire today.
The sun never sets.